Hi there and welcome to Capital View. The first part of the budget session of Parliament has come to an end. To assess the session and also to talk about the logjam over the land acquisition bill, joining us on Capital View is Parliamentary Affairs Minister and Minister for Urban Development, Venkaiah Naidu. Thank you so much for joining us on Capital View. The first part of the budget session has ended. It's been a significant session. Many breakthroughs have been made, such as you've passed the insurance bill, motor vehicles bill, citizenship bill, others. But there is no breakthrough on the land acquisition bill. How do you intend to break the logjam?
You must understand that I got 5 out of 6 ordinances approved by both the House of Parliament. Mines and minerals, coal mines, then motor vehicle, then Citizenship Act, and then above all that insurance bill. Only one bill remains. And the Parliament also functioned very effectively and we had a productive session. The PRS says around 121% productivity of the session. That's a very good sign that Parliament is functioning effectively and taking up people's issues. Then on land acquisition, still the consensus has not come. The Lok Sabha has approved it with a comfortable majority. Then I have to go to Rajya Sabha. We'll deal with it and it comes to that.
Are you prepared to make even more amendments to the bill?
The point is, ma'am, you must understand the background of this bill. I would like the people of the country to understand the background of the bill. This was a bill which was passed during the earlier regime, 2013. Subsequently, Congress chief ministers, number of states, they started making representations saying it is practically impossible to have land acquisition through the present bill. And then, keeping that in mind, after our government took over, the then RD minister, Sri Nitin Gadkari, called a meeting in June 2014 of all the 32 union territories and states. 28 of them said changes are needed. Otherwise, it's impossible to move ahead. Then secondly, the former Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Prithviraj Chauhan, wrote a letter to the then RD minister. Then Sri Anand Sharma, my senior colleague in Rajya Sabha, who is a senior Congress leader, a knowledgeable person who dealt with Commerce Ministry, he wrote a letter to Sri Manmohan Singh as Prime Minister saying if you go by this draft, it will halt the entire developmental activity, infrastructure will be a big hit and all. Keeping all these things in mind and taking a clue from the suggestions made by, we brought this ordinance, one. And secondly, and we realized there are certain concerns, apprehensions by the people, the government itself came forward with 9 amendments which were approved by the Lok Sabha. If there are well-meaning suggestions which are practical in nature, without compromising on the basic purpose of the Act, the government is open to ideas.
Are you prepared to call a joint session of Parliament to pass the land acquisition bill?
Without exhausting the avenues that are available, why should I think or even talk about
But you're not ruling it out.
I am saying there is a provision in the Constitution.
So you're not ruling out a joint sitting
of
Parliament?
You are trying to make some news. You are trying to make some news.
No, I'm asking you.
I am telling you, there is a provision in the Constitution.
Right.
First of all, I have to exhaust the discussion in Rajya Sabha and then try to find out what Rajya Sabha is going to do. Initially, on the coal mines, there was opposition. Right. Even on mines and minerals, there was opposition. Right. But later, after we convinced them, our colleagues have come around and then they passed the bill. Similarly, I hope for similar thing to happen even with regard to land acquisition also. I am ready to remove the misgivings, if any.
The sense one gets is that the Prime Minister hasn't reached out to the opposition enough. He hasn't called an opposition in a meeting. He hasn't called an all-party meeting. He hasn't got the opposition
together. Do you want
just
a simple formality to be completed?
Is that the problem?
I don't think so, ma'am. I can tell you the Prime Minister on the floor of the House and also through his Man Ki Baat, he has made very clear if there are problems, if there are concerns still after these 9 amendments, he said he is ready to meet them, one. Secondly, the ministers...
But why did you call a formal meeting of all the opposition parties?
If you just want to complete a formality that can be done, I can tell you, I have to share with you, through the people, the Minister for Home Affairs, the Minister for External Affairs, the Minister for Finance, the Minister for Urban Development, the Minister for Surface Transport, 5 of the senior ministers, we met almost all the political parties, had a detailed discussion. For your information, the Prime Minister was there in the all-party meeting called by me in the commencement of the Parliament session. He spent considerable time. Many people told me the Prime Minister used to come only and join lunch, not the meeting. He was there for both the meeting as well as eating.
But why was he not there for the debate on the land acquisition law in the Lok Sabha?
No, whenever he is required, he is there.
He was not even present. He was on a foreign trip.
No, tried. So foreign assignments are also in the larger interest of the country. International commitments has to. He spoke on land issue in the Parliament. He made a categorical statement also, keeping in view the interest of the farming community and public in mind. The government has come with this legislation. फिर भी अभी भी किसी के मन में कुछ है तो मैं उसको समाधान करने के लिए तैयार हूँ. ये खुद प्रधानमंत्री ने बताया. PM himself said it.
Do you regret that you took the ordinance route?
I don't regret it all because the constitution provides it. One. Secondly, the Rajya Sabha was not allowed to function. I am justified. See, we don't have a fancy for ordinance. There were 32 ordinances since independence. During the Congress regime, which is now making a hue and cry, there were 452 ordinances were issued. Congress regime. And our left friends who are shouting, they have a track record of 77 ordinances. I am not trying to score political points. My view is it was initiated because of the need for growth and urgency to sort out this issue. After thorough debate and discussion, we have gone through for this purpose. It is a constitutional provision. I don't know why people are saying why you brought ordinance and all. Ordinance has to be debated and discussed in both
because
houses of
the feeling
Parliament.
is that you're trying to bulldoze these measures
Question
without actually talking to the opposition and talking to the other parties.
How can there be a word like bulldoze in a democracy? We are not in emergency. The constitution is very much there. Parliament is functioning. Lok Sabha debated, discussed, which is the people's house, has debated and discussed and approved it. How can anybody say that majority people approving it is bulldozing it? This is another word. 40 people are trying to bulldoze 450 people. This is my way of putting things.
But as you say, as you point out earlier, on insurance you have managed a consensus, on coal mines you have managed a consensus. So are you confident that going forward there is a possibility of consensus on all the bills that are hanging fire?
Yeah. I am confident at the end of the day, people has to go, political parties has to take a final view going by the public opinion. I will just tell you an interesting thing. This coal mines, all parties, majority of the parties opposed it. And it was explained to public as well as to them that the biggest beneficiaries of the coal mine new bill or ordinance are going to be the states and also mines and minerals. For information, all mineral-rich states in the country are ruled either by BJP or by regional parties. So regional parties have realized that the state are going to benefit, the state is going to progress.
What the opposition is saying is that you are not giving parliamentary procedures their due because you are not sending bills to the standing committee, you are not allowing debate in the Lok Sabha, you are not allowing the opposition parties to have their say, which is why they are raising a hue and cry in the Rajya Sabha.
I don't agree. That's
the argument they are making.
You are talking of Parliament.
They are saying the standing committees are workless.
Listen,
they don't have any work.
You don't allow the House to function. You don't allow the House to function. And then when I referred it to Select Committee, what has happened? They condemned the Select Committee. The Congress party and the left have condemned the Select Committee of the Rajya Sabha. After I have gone through that process also. The government is very much for following the procedure, but when there is something urgent and there is a broad urge among the political parties and the state governments to go for such a legislation, then only we have resorted to this. Otherwise, we have, as I told you, we have no fancy for ordinances. The Lok Sabha, which is a people's house, have debated it, discussed it. They are saying, though you are in majority, you go by our concern. How can it be? In majority party represents the majority view of the people. If there is some good point made by opposition, we are ready to accommodate that also.
Right. But there are very key bills also pending at the moment, like the banking bill, for example, is still pending. So, do you accept that you have a uphill task ahead of you?
No, ma'am, we have been left with a daunting task. We have inherited a very bad situation. There was a fiscal deficit, there was a revenue deficit, there was a trade deficit, there was a current account deficit, above all trust deficit. We are trying to address one after another. This GST is there. Right. Then black money bill is there. Then we have the land bill. We are trying our best to convince our friends in the opposition and make them to understand the need for such legislations. I hope they will cooperate.
Let's talk about your relationship with the opposition. Now, in this session, we've seen Mr. Modi reaching out to Mamata Banerjee. We've seen him reaching out to Mulayam Singh Yadav. Is there a realization in your government that you have to reach out to your regional allies? You can't to regional parties. You can't see them as enemies.
See, why should we see anybody? Even we don't consider Congress as our enemy. Congress is our main rival. Communists are our ideological rivals. They are not our enemies, first of all. Secondly, the Prime Minister believes in cooperative federalism. He said we must work as a team India. He reached out to the states. You have seen first time in the history, earlier it was 29% during Khusro committee, and then Rangarajan committee, it was 32%. Now, under this government, 42% of the central revenues have been transferred to state to make state the strengthened. So, there is no question of ignoring regional parties at all. And secondly, the Prime Minister, as and when required, he is talking to the people, he is visiting the states, he is talking to political parties. In the beginning of this Parliament session, I as a Parliament Affairs Minister went on my own and called on Srimati Sonia ji, just to seek the cooperation of the Congress party in smooth running of the House.
Are you worried that you are now being called a Kisan Virodhi party, that you are being seen as a corporate friendly party, that a party friendly to big business? Many are saying this is political suicide on your part.
Who gave the GPA to Congress party to brand political parties like this? It is ultimately the people. The people have given me mandate in Lok Sabha, they have given me mandate in Maharashtra, Jharkhand, Haryana, Jammu Kashmir, earlier in Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh and Rajasthan. Out of 8 states, the Congress could not get even single state. I got 7 states, though I lost to Delhi. But my point is, we have no such fear at all, and people, if somebody is branding somebody, people will see the credibility of those organizations. The Congress party branding us as Kisan Virodhi. Why should be Kisan Virodhi? Another point I want to make, this another talk is going on. The land acquisition is going to cover only 0.05% of the farmers. 0.05%. 99.95% of the farmers are not going to be affected at all. On the other hand, they are going to be the biggest beneficiaries. I will give an example. National Highway Sriman Atal Bihari Vajpayee's that golden quadrilateral, it went through my village. My village. Before that road was formed, the land cost was in thousands and lakhs. Now the land cost is 80 lakhs near the road. 60 lakhs little away. So the neighborhood will get benefit. The farmers will be the beneficiaries. And first time in the history, a farmer whose land is acquired or a farm labor, he will be given an employment.
Right.
He will be given 4 times the rate of circle rate. So 4 times compensation and then employment to the family. Is it an ordinary thing? Which was not there from 1894 to 2013, ma'am. It was the Congress government or earlier government which were implementing land acquisition where there is no provision for this 4 times compensation, where there is no provision for employment. They acquired lakhs and thousands and lakhs of hectares of land.
Thanks for that. Let's take a short break at this point and come back with lots more with Mr. Venkaiah Naidu on the other side. Welcome back to Capital View. Let's come to your party itself. Now, there is a sense that elements within the Sangh Parivar, like the RSS or like the farmers' wing of the RSS, are themselves not happy with this land acquisition bill. They are also protesting. They also feel that this is a pro-corporate move.
The Kisan Sangh or the organizations associated with RSS, they have not made any protest. They have expressed their concern. They have got every right, and they are not part of the government. They are not BJP wings. They are independent. So they have got every right to express their views, and those views are taken into consideration, they are addressed.
Are they with you on Kashmir? Are they with you on your Kashmir policy?
See, we are a political party. I am running government. Organizations are independent. They have their own views. As far as the government, and moreover, RSS do not interfere in day-to-day administration and politics. It's a cultural nationalist organization. They have their own views, and we respect their views. And
but the fact that you've set aside Article 370.
We have not set aside anything. Article 370 is very much there. But only thing is, when you have the mandate, then only you can fulfill it. I don't know why people are talking. And moreover, ma'am, and there is a mandate which is incomplete, which is not totally in favor of you. Can you implement your mandate and then say,
but is there a sense of disquiet?
Definitely.
Within your own party, within your own floor?
My people are intelligent enough to understand the limitations. The BJP did not get the needed mandate in Jammu Kashmir. The mandate was for a coalition, and it's a sensitive state. You need a local government there rather than ruling from Delhi. I could have gone for president rule, and we would have the advantage of ruling the Kashmir from Delhi. We don't want to do it. Definitely it's an experiment, because BJP and PDP, ma'am, they were not allies. They fought each other. On certain issues we have different views also. I can't be just camouflage words and say, no, everything is fine and all. There are areas of differences, but at the same time, as I told you, because of the sensitivity of the situation, because of the backdrop of that state, historically, we need to see that there is a locally elected government to take care of the aspirations of the people rather than ruling from Delhi. That's why we have gone for this alliance in accordance with the wishes of the people, because people did not vote for PDP fully. They did not vote for BJP fully. They did not vote for NCP fully. Of course, Congress is a forgotten party in many of the states. I am not going to discuss about it. But question is, you have to respect the mandate. There are two options: whether you form a government or you allow the state under president rule.
Just on that point, if I can ask you a little bit about your government's Pakistan policy. Now, we've just had the...
I'm not an international expert, neither is my subject.
But we've just had this issue with General Vijay Singh, who has expressed his disgust at being at the Pakistan National Day celebrations. Is it true that there is a difference of opinion within your government on how to formulate a Pakistan policy? And was General Vijay Singh pulled up by your party?
Not at all.
For his tweets?
Not tweets, I don't know, but I can tell you one thing. The Pakistan Day, I am surprised that many of the news channels, without understanding, there used to be India's representative every time on a national day. It's not that first time Mr. General Vijay Singh has gone there. This elementary fact also is not noticed by many people, unfortunately. And secondly, Pakistan is your neighbor. That's a reality.
But on the day that the Prime Minister himself reached out to Pakistan and offered dialogue and said we must have dialogue, when you have the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs himself saying disgust, then doesn't that create a confusion?
He has clarified that remark of disgust. The way the media has interpreted, he got disgusted. That's the clarification he has given.
Was he pulled up by the PMO for what he said?
To my knowledge, not at all.
Well, you are spearheading the Smart City campaign. Can you tell us a little bit about this? And how are you willing to accept that it's going to take a long time before the kind of promises you're making will be implemented? Is implementation going to take a very long time?
Definitely. What is a smart city? Smart city is making urban life more comfortable. For that, you need a smart leadership.
Right.
Smart leadership at the local level. I'm not talking of the center. Then you need smart people also. People must be willing to reform themselves.
Right.
People must be willing to pay service charges also. And the urban local bodies must also have the revenues. And then you must be willing to go for PPP model. Right. It requires a huge amount.
But how would you answer the criticism that at the moment your government's making a lot of promises, a lot of slogans, a lot of announcements, but we're not seeing anything really real concrete on the ground?
Unfair criticism. Some people, unfortunately, in this country are not able to digest and stomach the victory of the BJP and emergence of Mr. Narendra Modi as a leader, popular leader. That's why they are waiting for an opportunity. You have not even given 9 months and you start criticizing people. You see what I have done. We have taken a lot of steps. Minimum pension is 1,000 rupees. And now you have a Janadhana Yojana covering 12.37 crore people. 12 crore 37 lakh people are covered under Janadhana Yojana. You have an insurance cover with 1 rupee premium per month, 2 lakh accidental insurance, and then you have 330 rupees per year, and then you are going to have a general insurance for 2 lakh people, and then you have a Mudra bank to take care of the downtrodden people and small traders and the pushcart people and all. Lot of things are happening. We are going to have a city challenging system. The Bloomberg, the mayor of New York, he has come forward to assist us as far as in the process of selection of the smart cities. It is not going to be a political basis. It has to be on the basis of the preparedness of the cities. Are you ready? Are you credit worthy? Are you economically sound? Do you have some grading? You will have some grading also on sanitation, on infrastructure, on the tax collection, and then employee and the population ratio. All these aspects are there.
Right. If I can just come to a question about social harmony, because this is troubling a lot of people. Now, we've seen the kind of attacks that have happened on churches, and the Prime Minister has made a statement and the government has made a statement. But are there groups that are not willing to come on board?
Who are those groups? We have to first of all understand, it is very unfair to just brandish everything and then condemn Hindutva forces. What happened in Bengal, in that nun's heinous crime against that nun. The facts, once they come out, it will be startling. Who are the people involved in that? I don't want to name them because the agencies which are investigating yet to name them. The names will come out in a day or two. And then people who are involved in Mumbai attacks. Just now I read in some of the newspapers, one of the name of the person belonging to different other communities also. These are unfortunate and these are condemnable aspects. And there are certain issues where the attacks were because of local rivalries, because of some robbery, theft also is involved. I am not trying to undermine even a small incident, even a single incident. It is highly condemnable. But some people are trying to portray as if everything has gone haywire after our government came.
Should the government come out much more strongly against these attacks, make a much more stronger statement?
Ma'am, try to understand. You are very knowledgeable. Law and order is a state subject. If the Delhi government start interfering on each and everything of happening in different states, then there will be hue and cry that you are encroaching upon the state's rights. We are trying to sensitize the state government from time to time. I do agree with you, the government at the center also, we must come out more timely and more strongly, even with regard to condemning such incidents and also with regard to taking action. Union Home Minister Rajnath Singh cannot take action on any individual, even though he is the Home Minister of India, because the law and order is a state subject. The center can issue advisory. The moment I issue an advisory, you will say 355, then forward 356, which is not acceptable, which should not be. So we have a very, a delicate balance that has to be maintained.
It is a delicate balance. I want to come to another issue of the delicate balance. You're in government and you have to govern. But on the other hand, you also have your ideology. Now, the ideology of the Sangh Parivar. Now, in Maharashtra and Haryana, you have undertaken the beef ban. Do you feel that even while you're in government, you have to keep also abreast with your ideological issues, that your ideological issues can't be put on the back burner? Is that an issue for you? That you're facing a dilemma between being in government and also appeasing your ideological
Ideology inspires us. But at the same time, what is the agenda? We made the commitment to the people of development and good governance. These are the two basic principles on which we are functioning. As far as this development is concerned,
is it a dilemma for you?
No dilemma. There will be, the problem, ma'am, in the country, it is not the ideology that decides the mandate. It is the performance, it is the promises, it is the credibility of the person who is making promises, it is the leadership also, it is the cadre and all which finally contributes to the victory or defeat in any election. Keeping that in mind, when you say something which is in the larger interest of the country, you must update your ideology with the present context and also the reality of the situation, and then try to strike a balance.
You have to update your ideology.
From time to time, as a student, I used to shout, automation, anti-nation. When computers came in banks, I shouted slogan, Venkaiah Naidu, I am telling you as a minister, I shouted the slogan as per my ideology at the time, automation was anti-nation. Can you think on those lines now? Can automation be anti-nation? The amount of employment created by IT during Atal Bihari Vajpayee, same government, our own government.
But the criticism is being made that he's a one-man show, that it's only a personality cult of Mr. Narendra Modi which is dominating. That where are his ministerial colleagues, for example, in the cabinet committee for appointments?
I counter this argument simply by saying one thing. Why the opposition is insisting on one-man statement? The Home Minister make a statement, they shout saying, let the PM come. The External Affairs Minister gives a statement on his issue, his visit, and then they say, let Prime Minister come, Prime Minister koi bolna, Prime Minister, you are trying to focus it on only one man. Whereas the Prime Minister, in our government, ma'am, PM presides and the team decides. We are working as a team.
But are we going to see the Prime Minister come to Parliament more often?
He is coming more often, he is coming more often, he is sitting through for all this thing. As and when there is a requirement to go abroad, he is going there. And as and when his presence is required in the Parliament, he is sitting there. And he is also spending a lot of time in Parliament and intervening whenever he has confidence in his colleagues. If he has no confidence, then only he should intervene frequently. And the minister doing a good job, why should the Prime Minister intervene and then give scope for the saying that one man, this thing? How can these two things go together? On one side you are saying, criticism is one man show. On the other side, you are saying only that man should answer the questions. How can these two things go together?
My very last question. How would you respond to the charge that you are only there to look after the interests of big business, that you're only there to look after the interests of the big industrialists, and that is the agenda of your government?
Absurd. It is orchestrated campaign initiated by our people, particularly our political adversary who has ruled and ruined the country. 50 years, words for the poor and deeds for the rich.
But when the Prime Minister says in Man Ki Baat that industry is not a bad word,
it is not a bad word.
You think that can be misinterpreted?
What is an industry?
That you're only working for the benefit of industry.
You want to condemn industry in the morning and go to industry in the evening and receive support from industry. What is happening in this country? And some people even has gone to the extent of calling even the names also, the Adanis and Ambanis. Adanis and Ambanis have become rich only in this 9 months. Who was in power all these years? Who are responsible for the present system? Let us not trivialize things and then try to make political comments. My point is industry, agriculture are like both eyes of a person. You need industry for growth. You need more and more exports. You need more and more employment, job opportunities. Can only agriculture provide this? new generation. That's why they have a craze for Modi, because they feel Modi means 3D earlier. Now he has become 4D. Modi means decisive, dynamic, development oriented. Now the fourth D is devolution.
Right. Mr. Venkaiah Naidu, you've been feisty, you've been combative and very informative. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/etnow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at etnowlive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/etnow.